Hello everyone, welcome back to Rainy Day Discussion number 12. Here we are talking about Little Disciple. This item is actually kind of insane, and I'm very happy that I messed with it. A lot of people kind of undervalue this item a lot when it can be just incredibly strong. It can even be a win condition, which is kind of insane. I have some points here that I'm going to go over. It's got a proc coefficient of 1.0, which is incredible. It's based on its move speed. So if you have stuff like Red Whip, Hoof, Energy Drink, so it's gonna go faster, which is incredible. You can use it in strides, which more on that later. That's actually insane. Two Little Disciples can proc bands because of the 300% plus 300% is based off your base damage, and you only need 400% to actually proc bands. One of these things, if you have two of them, one Little Wisp does as much as Multi's Rebar. For a little bit of context here, we are talking about a tiny little wisp does as much as a rebar puncher. That is incredible. Now, you'll see this 300% plus 300%. You think it's kind of as strong as an ATG missile. It's not, sadly, because ATG missile is based off your total damage. So if you do a crit, it'll do more damage. It depends on what item you use. Let's say if you proc one with Huntress's Ballista, it'll be doing insane amounts of damage, just stuff like that. Where Wisp will be more consistent. It can still crit, but I'm talking about each little Wisp is going to do the exact same amount of damage, which is actually pretty nice because it's consistent. You are constantly proccing this if you're playing Huntress or Mercenary, which I highly recommend this item on both of those characters. If you are playing with, let's say you're playing multiplayer, and you get this to drop, and you have a Huntress or a Mercenary is running on hits, give this to the Mercenary. Mostly because if you, let's say you got four of them to drop, you don't want that messing with the Ballista. Even though a Wisp would do more damage, crit Ballista with a Blast Shower is a thing that I really love on Huntress. Because you get one Fuel Cell, one Blast Shower, and a Band. All three of the hits on Ballista are proccing bands, and that's kind of neat. In fact, I do want to talk about Blast Shower a little bit with this item. If you get 15 Fuel Cells, which is not unfeasible in a looping run, if you find a Fuel Cell printer on like stage 10 or something, and a Gesture, I think it actually might be lower than 15. I'll have to look at that at some point. When I do the Fuel Cell video or the Blast Shower video, whichever one. You can get permabands uptime. Guess what item would greatly benefit from permabands uptime? Imagine this with Red Whip. Red Whip. Bleh, speech classes did not help. I'm joking, they definitely did. Red Whip. His strides. Permaband uptime. And two Little Disciples. That's so much damage. And that's what I'm talking about. This thing can be a win con, which is awesome. This thing can stack bleed incredibly well. You can use it in stride, so you can attack while invincible. It's hella good on that. It's hella good on Acrid. Poison Acrid to be specific. It's not really that great on Blight Acrid. Or really, I guess Melee Acrid's actually incredible on because Wisps. So if you're running Melee Blight Acrid, it's actually pretty good because you can take out Wisp with it. And this item just does a lot of damage. It's actually kind of insane how much damage this does. Now, one thing that I really wanted to try when I learned it could proc bands was mobile turrets. Because turrets don't really have a way to proc bands besides doing ATGs and stuff like that. So I was wondering if you're playing with a mobile NG, would this be fantastic to give him? Because the turrets move a lot and they be procking bands. But sadly, turrets don't sprint until you're far away from them, but they can still proc them. So that's kind of a toss-up depending on what you want to do. Depends greatly on the situation. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's very good on mobile turret NG. So if you have a recycle it, probably recycle it. Hope for a Shatter Spleen. But if you're playing Huntress or Mercenary, I actually recommend picking these up rather than recycling them. Maybe recycle one of them if you get two to drop because of Mountain Shrine or something like that. But definitely pick one up because, again, this can be a win con. I'll show you a clip in a second of me running through Mithrix with a simulated run, and they did work. I was able to just focus on dodging the whole time. If I had multiple stacks of strides, I would be fine. I would be completely fine. I could just be invincible the entire time. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is the sprint change on a lot of survivors' utility abilities, their mobility skills. It doesn't affect Little Disciple at all, which makes me really sad. I was really hoping that because of that, like stuff like Ion Surge, Leap, Loader Punch would trigger a lot of Little Disciples, but they don't, which kind of sucks. But I just thought I would put that out there because it might be something that y'all were wondering while watching this video. But it's just a very solid item, and I think it gets slept on because it does an insane amount of damage. And as you'll see in the clip, it does a lot. It can be a win condition. Like let's say, I'll go into the clip now. So basically, in this simulated run, I have a lot of red whips because I was thinking if I had a Little Disciple that I've gotten from stage 3, like if I had gotten Scorched Acres and I got this to drop off of a Grove Tender, and I found if I found something like, I don't know, some green printer on stage 4 that was really good, like maybe an ATG mist printer, maybe I don't know, maybe fuel cell band, whatever. Just a good green that I would like to print stuff into, or even if I didn't find a printer at all, it doesn't really matter. Let's see if I find a Ritter printer on stage 5, and I had a Little Disciple and I had Cap Bleed. I was wondering because you get about I'd say about 9 would be reasonable greens. Let's say if I just dumped all of my greens into red whips, how much damage would that really do? And it turns out a lot. I was able to easily just kind of stand on top of Mithrix and shoot him a bunch. It was just kind of insane. So I'm going to show a few highlights of that clip because I think it's very interesting and it could have gotten even more insane. Like, again, it has a 1.0 proc coefficient. If I had an ATG, if I had 2 and I had some bands, it'd be even more damage. If I had even like a few sticky bombs, it would have been absolutely insane. Like, this item is really good. I feel like people sleep on it a lot. And just feel like, dang, a Little Disciple, it wasn't a Shatter Spleen or whatever the heck. Like, just because Shatter Spleen is the most insane boss item in the game does not mean that these other boss items aren't good. They're actually insane. I feel like a lot of the boss items are ridiculous. Like, I'm actually excited to talk about Queensland. Because I feel like this item, not in 6mm, but in looping runs, can be pretty decent. Especially if you stack it and have an army. It's pretty fun. Just having somebody to pull aggro for you is really nice. But yeah, that's going to be it for the Little Disciple video. Not too much to say besides it just being a very good item. It's good. Like, it's no 40-minute video about Blight versus Poison, but it's a good item, and I have a lot of fun using it, and I hope you'll think about it more as a win condition rather than just a little bit extra damage. Because it can be, with strides and Red Whip and stuff like that. You can focus just completely on dodging while the Wisp kill your enemies. So yeah, that's going to be it for Rainy Discussion number 12, Little Disciple. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. And remember, by the way, if we had not traded our stuff for the Red Whips, we would not have this much mobility, so we'd be getting hit a lot more. Another thing is this build would actually work really well with Purity and a Hard Light, because then we can just stay in strides the entire time. So let's actually do that. And Purity won't affect anything because we already have Cat Bleed. So now we can basically stay in strides the entire time. And it's just a matter of time until we win. See? This kind of thing would be really good for win streaking. Because right now we have pretty, besides the bleed printer, we have pretty below our average RNG, but we're still winning because of the Disciple. Like, without the Disciple, we'd probably not be winning at the moment. Especially since the second we attack, we lose all of our speed. That was just for an example. But I see what you mean. Yeah, I would just be hitting a lot of things really, really hard. But you do see what I'm talking about, though, right? Like this, it is a potential build that you can do like every so often. You just have to get a Disciple and a Web Printer. And that's the whole point of the video series, is just like the items like showing off these kind of interactions, where like you could take that Web Printer on stage 5 and do this, and it could win you the game. Like if I was focused entirely on the run right now instead of just talking, I'd probably have won way faster. But I'm mostly just walking around in a circle and trying to talk. Yeah, it being able to work in strides is a huge deal. Same with Crowdfunder too. Like if I had a Crowdfunder right now, we'd be doing way more damage, because Crowdfunder also works with Woodwick. It will not deactivate it. Or a disposable missile launcher even. I would have to face things, yeah. But like it's not that hard to face something. Disposable missile launcher also works. Phase 4 is like the only thing that's like mildly concerning, but you can just circle camp. You can just camp on the ramps for that one if you really care. Also, big thing about strides, I don't give a f about the radio attack. Strides Heartlight just lets you be invincible during the entire thing. Yeah, this is Mithrix on a pretty bad pace even. And we're still winning. Mithrix does not use Disciple, he does not sprint. He only walks. Which, thank God, because holy shit. Could you imagine? Is this it? I think this is it. Yep, right there. Hee hee, I'm on your back, idiot. Give my shit back. Hee hee. Phase 4 is too hard! Taking away your items removes player agency! Dude. Phase 4 Mithrix is fun. Easiest part of the fight, by far, in 6mm. Besides, maybe Phase 1. Maybe Phase 1 is a little bit easier. But yeah, if you didn't know about just standing on his back, I use that constantly. Unless he has something like Tesla, which I have actually, and I really wish I had recorded it. I have beaten him in a 6mm run when he had Tesla as mercenary with Eviscerate. Tesla was like a stage 2 Tesla as well. God, that run was fun. It was just hide for a bit, wait for Tesla to turn off, then go the heck in. And then get the heck out. It was really fun. And it was also like the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in this video game. God, that was fun. Nuka-Hana's opinion, I feel like, is the only thing that really needs to be blacklisted. That and Tesla. Because Tesla, even though it was fun to work around it, it is just kind of insane to have to deal with. Tesla is fine. I'm okay with Tesla being a thing, but Nuka-Hana's opinion is the big thing.